Wow. So what church is this? You doing the reveal now, or is this a secret?
It's called the Perfecting Church.
The Perfecting Church.
Oh, well, perfect.
Perfecting.
Yes.
The perfecting of the saints.
That was funny. That was good.
Exactly.
Well,
That was fun. That was good.
thanks everybody for jumping on. I'm sure I know Allison and Mike, they have well, he's not really in the marriage stuff anymore, but now a local pastor, they are doing an installation tonight. Allison and Mike are over there. So she asked to be excused for that. So let me bring up
Hello?
yes.
Oh, okay. You disappeared there for a minute.
Do you see the presentation up? Oh, you're on the phone. Oh, sorry, Crawford. I'm sharing the presentation deck. So.
Oh, okay.
So just repeating, like I do every single month, this idea of where Christian marriage models Christ's relationship with the church. Looking for insight onto that. And ignite a spiritual revival among married and engaged Christian couples. I don't know that we have any engaged couples there yet. So pray for engaged couples. Maybe we'll have another wedding this year. That compels an increasing commitment to prayerful intercession, graceful service, and faithful intimacy. And we're grassroots, and that's our USP, that we are faith-driven marriage and family proponents, committed to spiritual revival and committed to collaboration. And that's what I'm most proud of about all of this is this notion of collaboration. And I mean, we totally get it with the whole thing of when we talk about this vision for Eusebia is, me and Dahlia. But, our prayer is that we just are stirring up or pointing towards something that all of us own as a vision. And I know that's true for many of you, and that's why you do this. And when we did the prayer today, we were being thankful for all of you who sacrificed and continue to sacrifice to be because of that communal vision for this. Eusebia, as you know, the word means godliness. And now I have believed all along that Eusebia begins with me, and that my own sort of, as Gerard said, perfecting, I guess, my own transformation. And, I think this sense of presence this year has been something I'm working to internalize and to be a different husband in that way. And so I think that's the thing for all of us. This is about, it's very easy for me to look at numbers and how many people are registered and look at dollars and all of that. It's very easy for me to do that. But at the end of the day, I think this is all about those of us who are part of this leadership team. It's about our transformation personally, and what that then means in our own circle of influence, more so than what's going to happen October 18th and 21st. This whole notion for Eusebia has always been, it's never been exclusively about, or even mostly about, what happens at the live event. It's really about what happens inside us as those who are collaborating on this. And then because something is transforming inside us, that wherever we are, when we are in our, our respective domicile, whatever, that we are different than we were. And when we talk, when we teach marriage stuff, that we teach from a different place than others do. And I think all of that is personal transformation kind of stuff. So, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when you guys, everybody always says Harold and Dolly is vision for Eusebia, but that's what I want. That is my vision. It's not the live event. We talk about 1,000 Christian couples for a spiritual revival for marriage, and that's cool, but that's not the end goal. The end goal isn't to pull in to have 1,000 Christian couples in some edifice. That is not the goal. The vision is that type of influence of what happens when 1,000 Christian couples actually commit to tapping into a deeper level of intimacy with God in their marriages, and that changes their dynamic. And so whether they're teachers, marriage practitioners like many of you are, or whether they're just out in their respective enclaves, that it changes the trajectory of those relationships around that in a culture that is increasingly challenged in this notion of marriage. That is my vision for Eusebia, our vision for Eusebia. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Is that surprising to anyone?
No.
No.
So let's keep that in context when we, in all of the stuff that we do and we talk about today and moving forward, it's really it's broader than the live event. It's about, how do we create bridges and relationships and that can create a different trajectory. Honestly, if this was only about doing an event in one weekend a year, I really don't have that much interest to do with that. Because as everyone who knows me knows, there's no shortage of things that I'm thinking about but what I'm really interested in is us changing. I'm interested in what in cybernetics we would talk about as second order change. And I don't know if that's a term that is familiar to most people. Well, I know it's not a term familiar to most people, but most of you, I don't know if it's a term that's that familiar, but it's the difference between first order change and second order change. And second order change, it changes the game. I mean, first order change is how you can move pieces around differently on the board. Second order change asks us to consider a different board. And what I'm interested in is a community of people who feel God compelling them for transformational second order change. And I believe what we're doing here, the spirit of what we're doing here, I believe has the seeds of second order change. But second order change is never, ever easy. It's not easy on a personal level, and it's certainly not easy on a group team level. And of course, it's even more difficult the larger you push that circle out, the more you're talking about exponentially more difficult to see second order change. But that's the message of the gospel. The message of the gospel is about second order change. And that's why Christ could blow things up and, he, tick people off because, okay, they're interested in playing maybe moving the pieces around on the board differently, but there's just some things where you draw the line. You can't go there, that's out of bounds. So, but that wasn't Christ's deal. And that, to me, is one of the main messages that he was seeking to teach the disciples. That, no, this is kind of a renewing of the mind kind of thing, that you actually have to think different. All the things that you thought to date, that this is really a different game that we're playing here. And I'm raising up a group of 12 that is gonna come to believe and own second order change. And then, but those people, after he's gone, because they're Holy Spirit inspired, they are gonna have all that they need, the comforter, right? They're gonna have all that they need in order to advance second order change out in their respective domains. And then ultimately those guys all of them, with the exception of John, I guess, end up paying kind of the ultimate price for that, but they turned the world upside down because of second order change. Anyway, that's my little spiel for today. I hope it makes sense. It is where my heart is. And that's what inspires me when I get discouraged in this. And when I, God, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to keep going with this? And those are real questions. And that's what says to me, yeah, get your butt up and keep moving. Okay, God, whatever. All right, so with that, are there any questions, comments on that before I dive in here?
No.
You getting ready to say something brilliant, wife?
From the heart.
Oh, brilliantly from the heart.
I just piggyback on, what you were saying, and that this is a game changer, and I do believe that, it's been a lot of hurdles and whatnot, and I do believe that it has really helped our relationship, and it really has changed my heart and my view, and how God wants me to be with you, and how He wants me to be with you. And I don't know, I'm just really seeing something very different. And so you're right that it's not just about this live event, but it is about really wanting to have a heart change and be the woman of God that He's calling me to be. And it's never easy, but it's worth it.
You deserve a kiss for that. That was nice. That was awesome. Thank you. Well, yeah. I'll stop because I could go on, but I appreciate that. All right. With all that mushy stuff aside, so I wanted to, if there are no questions or comments about any of that, I have a few things, and the big goal here is to make sure as much as possible that everyone is apprised of what their own roles are, and kind of understanding we went over the whole program last month. So feel free to ask any questions if for some reason you weren't on here, or you didn't look at the document on Slack or whatever. But I don't intend to review the whole program again, but if there are questions that you have about the program, then let me know. But one of the things that we talked about last month are doing couple devotions, rather than, it was in response to this whole notion of are couples going to have enough kind of one-on-one time for themselves and were we over programming again? And one of the takeaways from that was to have things that we encourage couples to do, kind of couple devotional things. So I came up with a few things, 3 that I put here in the program that we're putting together. This is the one, what you see here, for those who aren't online, I'll read it. But so there's a Thursday couple devotion. There's a scripture there. That scripture for Thursday is Genesis 3:8. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. And obviously it has the word presence in it. Thursday's reflection I call hide and seek. And the questions are for the couple to process, what one thing do you most need fully? I guess grammar, got grammar issues. But most need to fully submit to God this weekend. Obviously, this is the opening night. Why has this been a struggle? Can you make note that I correct that, Brian? Why has this been a struggle to accomplish in the past? And once fully submitted to God, what will this make possible in your marriage? So that's Thursday night. Any questions, comments on that?
No.
Okay, and
No.
then there's Fridays. The scripture is Exodus 33:14-15. And the Lord God said, my presence will go with you and I will give you rest. And Moses said to him, the Lord, if your presence will not go with me, do not bring us up from here. So this Friday reflection is called God or Bust. And when do you most feel God's presence in your life together as a couple? As a couple, how well do you rest when moving in the direction to which God calls you as a couple? And as a couple, how, if at all, have you challenged God to be present in your work together? Questions, comments? Okay, and then the last one is Saturdays, and everything here is Old Testament. So 1 Kings 8. 8:22-23, Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of all the assembly of Israel and stretched out his hands toward heaven and said, O Lord God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth beneath, keeping covenant and showing steadfast love to your servants who walk before you with all your heart. And then the Saturday reflection is called Altar Call. What in your marriage have you publicly placed on the altar this weekend? Obviously, this is towards the end of the live event. Who will you ask to keep you accountable, to live more present with one another and with God? Okay, so those are the couples' devotions. 3 of those. Take care. No questions, comments about those? All right, so then pod facilitators. I have the questions that will be in the guide, and I think Carlos and Catherine or Mena, I can't remember if we've sent these questions to you guys yet, but they're coming if we haven't. And so each of the breakouts, and our breakouts this year are a little longer. There are fewer of them and they're a little longer. And so the Friday pod breakout session, calling in God's presence, and then there are a few group questions there. I'm not going to go through all of these, but just wanted you pod leaders, pod facilitators to know that these questions, and just like last year, these are a guide. I really don't care if you don't use them at all. The main point is that when you're with these groups, when the pod facilitators are with these groups, that there's some interactive dialogue, that there's not one couple monopolizing, that it's not a workshop, it's not a teaching moment per se in the traditional sense. It's really intended to be conversational. It's intended to build intimacy, relationships, and so the conversation and the relationship are what these are about. So if you don't need these questions to do that, then don't use them. But the goal is for the pod participants to feel connected to you and to one another. Any questions about these? So there's a Friday one and there's a Saturday one as well.
Carl?
Yes.
This is Albert. I suppose you want us to certainly be first partakers of these questions.
That would be ideal. And they're being sent to you guys in advance.
Right.
So you're gonna have them. No, we didn't send them yet, right?
They haven't been sent yet, but I formulated the attachment for Catherine, and she agreed to. I think it was today that she said she'd get it out, so it is coming to you, pot leaders.
Yeah. So you all will have them. So yeah, just spend some time kind of marinating. Any other questions? All right, so I know, I think Carlos, I know, excuse me. I know Carlos is planning to reach out one-on-one to all of you who are pod facilitators. So please anticipate that call from him. And it's the goal there is to make sure that we're all on the same page, walking in lockstep. Don't have any questions about your role, and we also want to get from you when you are actually going to arrive there. And obviously PodFest is Thursday night. So our ideal is that the pod facilitators are there on Thursday night, but that's what Carlos is going to be asking kind of everybody when exactly they're going to be there, so we can make accommodations if we need to. I know a few of you on here are pod facilitators. Do you have any questions at this point that I or Mena or Catherine, Carlos, I don't know if they're on, if they can answer?
We're going to arrive on the 1st
You're so silly.
of October.
Okay.
And
you'll be well prepared.
we have permission from the hotel. We can just lay out right in the lobby there for like 18 days.
Just like literally marinate in the present.
Yes, we are going to do.
I'm going to keep his hand off of the mute button.
I'm okay with that.
Oh my goodness, Gerard.
And honestly, Tanya, Gerard might need to be there.
You got a point there. You got a point there.
That's true.
Yeah. Let your will be done, Lord. Let your will be done. All right. So if there are no other comments, I take it then, Mena, I guess all these pod facilitators know exactly what the deal is.
Hey, it's their second time around. That's how they know. You trained them well, I guess. You, Catherine, and Carlos.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go with that. That's a good narrative. So let's go with that one. Do we know when Carlos? Yeah, what kind of general time frame when Carlos is going to start reaching out to folks?
I want to say it was this coming up week. I know Catherine said she was going to try to get this email out this week. She didn't give me a definite with Carlos when I talked to her, but I'm thinking it's soon. It's very soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, here are some of the, let me share with you, some of the decisions to be made. So, can you all see that? No, they can't.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been going around on this thing about plus for a minute. So currently we've been talking about what is included in this plus package. And we have the Thursday night pre-conference social. Obviously, Dr. Don Harvey is going to be speaking at that, and then there'll be some stuff there, and we'll have some kind of activity stuff there, which I think we're still working on what that is. The other thing is the Plus folks will have an opportunity to sign up for topical and intensive appointments, and I need to talk to you guys some more in a minute about kind of how many, especially Sean and Lori, you guys, how many of those appointments are we actually going to have available? And then I'm like, what else? I mean, do we have, some people sometimes do reserved seating type of things. Do we want to do that? One thing that I talked with the videographer about was if we actually are going to produce these videos, that we maybe include one video for them in that. The idea being each of the plenaries being recorded, video recorded, and the Spirited, all of it, all 5 and the panel being recorded. So maybe having one of the videos for the Plus people as well. So give me feedback on reserved seating and including a video, and what do you think?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't cost you anything for the reserved seating. So I'd say that's, something that you can do. Question is, are you putting them up at the very front, the middle, or the back?
I was thinking up front.
They want to be. Ouch.
I was assuming up front, but
That depends where the speakers are and how hard of hearing we are and how good our vision is.
yeah.
I also think reserved seating for whatever the included meals are.
Yeah.
Reserved seating for the lunches.
Yes.
And being first in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nana, what do you think?
I'm taking notes. I do like the reserved seatings for the luncheons and the being able to go first in line. That's definitely a plus when it comes to lunch. I think with the reserved seating, I guess it depends. We probably got some Plus members on the phone. You could tell, online, tell me what you think. But would you prefer the reserved seating be your preference of where you want to sit, or just totally put reserved seating near the speaker? Because some people's preference is not necessarily near the speaker. Just I ask you that for your opinions. If you're a Plus member and you're please answer that. Oh, no one on the call is Plus?
I wouldn't. For my personality, if it wasn't, Harold and I being the lead of this thing, I wouldn't want to be in the front.
You would sit in the back right corner.
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't say the back because I couldn't
right
see nothing, but the middle, I wouldn't want to be in the front.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people are like that. That's why now they could pick their preferred seat, and then I put reserved on it for them if that's what they choose. But it's up to you all.
I mean, to me, if it's not going to all be kind of easy to say, cordon off like the front and say these tables or whatever is for, then to me it's too complicated.
You don't want more administrative work than you have to have, I don't think. I mean, I definitely like the
It's
reserve.
just a sign. It's just a sign. It's not, it'll be already made to sign. They just got to tell me and I'll put it on it. So it's not more work, really, but I'll do whatever.
Okay.
This is Debbie. We're not VIP, but I would prefer to be able to sit wherever I want in the general sessions. But I do agree with the luncheons that they can get reserved seating and, like you said, first in line or whatever.
Harold, this is Sean. I agree in terms of the seating. I don't think people would, I think people like to sit where they're comfortable. Some people don't like to be up close, so it wouldn't be a benefit. I just thought about something though. What about talking with the videographer? It may add a little bit. Sometimes he or she may be willing to throw it in since they're also photographers, but a nice portrait picture for each of the Plus members. It's just you and your wife, and you get a picture, and they can always buy more if they want. Sometimes photographers are fine of throwing that in. It doesn't cost them much to send somebody a digital picture, and they may be able to sell more shots if they like the shot. They may say, oh, wow, I'll buy some else. So that might be a way to add something in there.
Yeah, I mean, I actually talked to Justin about that idea, and he was cool to do it with the Plus, if we were limiting it to Plus people. So I wasn't sure if that was a big value for people, since we're not really doing a dress up type of thing. I know when there's more of a dress up thing, people tend to be more, I would think people might be more photo interested, but you think in general that would be an interest?
Just to memorialize the event, you know, Lori and I just had, we just had some shots to send to you you asked us for our professional shots, and we did both formal and casual shots. And the casual shots are kind of fun. In fact, we included the kids in there for a family, a little impromptu family photo. So it's just, again, a way of memorializing it. You know, you can stick it in a small little paper folder or frame. Just, again, somebody to have something that they're leaving with as a memento of the event.
Plus, if you tell people that they're, you know, that's part of their Plus benefit, they can dress it however they want and just say on Saturday,
right,
we'll do the portrait picture. They, you know, they know, forewarned, they can dress however they want.
Right.
For that, say, you know, just before lunch or just after lunch or something, so that they could change into and then out of if they wanted to.
Okay. All right. No, that's it. Yeah. All right. I think that makes sense to me. I think that's a good ad. And as I said, I had talked to Justin about it. He was saying it wouldn't be too hard to just have a setup, leave a thing set up where it would just need to basically click a button. So, so no to reserve seating. And what about the video thing?
If it won't add cost, I think it's a nice ad. I think it's nice.
I mean, I think it's good too, because it's not like they're seeing all of the videos. So they go up to wherever it's going to be sold, and you know, they get one free, they might order the rest. So it's probably a good idea.
So the only thing is I'll have to get permission from the different speakers, you know, to video and to sell the videos. I haven't done that yet, so I don't know. I don't think that'll be an issue, but that is a to-do make sure that's on the to-do list. Okay. There's nothing else on that. I just want to share status update, and I might let Minna, y'all, maybe you can run through this. I'll just promotionally wise, a couple things that are going on. So tomorrow night at 7, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to create some kind of meme on it, but I'm going on Black and Married with Kids. I'm doing what they call a BMWK takeover. That'll be at 7 o'clock, and they have, I think they have like 500,000 people on their in their reach. I don't know how many will get on this. Who knows? But I'm doing this takeover. It's 30 minutes, 7 to 7:30. And obviously the call to action here is the conversion is around going to the website, going to Pray for Marriage. But I'm doing I'm adding value, what they call it. So I'm talking about, essentially I'm talking about this idea of transactional versus transformational marriage. And this supposition that, I believe that the big challenge that we have, even in Christian marriage, we are way too transactional and far from enough transformational. And I give some kind of examples of that. And ultimately, what I propose is the prayer habit from last year. For those who were part of that, I talk about, the title of the thing is something like Perfecting Prayers for a Marriage That Thrives. 5 perfecting prayers for a marriage that thrives. And so the premise here is moving from a transformational marriage really requires a prayer habit. And here are the 5 pillars of the prayer. And then that will be to the conversion, to talking about Eusebia as a transformational opportunity. We'll see what comes of that. And then we've also, Men and I have been working with a graphics person to get some flyers out there that we need you guys to share. Let me make sure I'm looking at you all right now, because I need you all to share these flyers. So I posted 3 of them on Facebook this evening, and probably most of you, if not all, are tagged who are on Facebook. But we're gonna send them to you. I've already put them on Slack, but I know some of you think Slack is a foreign country, and you need like a passport and stuff. So in order for you to not have to leave the country, I'm gonna actually email them to you. And the flyers that we have are, one is a general, it has the plenary speakers, and just some stuff you see in the plenary speakers. Another flyer that we have is related to Spirit TED, so it's the Spirit TED speakers. And then another one is the topical intensive speakers. And then we have, so those are the ones we currently have available. The ones still being worked on that I assume we'll have within the next day or 2 are individual ones with a number of the different plenary presenters. But can you guys share out these flyers to your respective constituents? Are you willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Great. I've gotten responses from most. So thank you for that. So I have posted them. I'll probably be posting them every day when I'm not overwhelmed with something else. And you pretty much can't overpost them at this point. So we're a month out. And so we all know that until you post something about 7 or 8 times, most people aren't seeing it once. So just keep that in mind. At the point where you think that you're oversharing, you probably are just barely scratching the surface of anybody seeing it. And it's kind of a mental thing we have to get ourselves beyond. But so overshare. Are there any questions about those? I think they look pretty good, right, Mena?
Yes, they do look pretty good. And she sent the individual ones, but I think you were preparing for the meeting. But they are done now. They just got to be reviewed by you. And then they should be ready, like you said, to go out.
So my plan is to send them to the speakers as well and ask them if they would share them. Generally, I don't find speakers very helpful in doing that, but I'm going to ask. So pray without ceasing. Any other questions about that? All right, so let's go through roles. Menican, I'm going to pull up this slide that you want to talk through.
Sure, and thank goodness the roles are pretty much filled good now. I think we have one slot that we're working on, but audio and soundboard, we had a couple of volunteers, Michael Shaw, and possibly Sean. Sean is thankfully, thanks Sean, is taking a list to the church, his church, to see if anyone will sign up for possibly some audio soundboard monitoring, as well as registration support. And that's
the
going
other
to
thing
help.
to say there, though, with the audio board is the great thing about Michael is that he actually has a portable audio system. So we will actually be able to use his system. And I can't remember if I mentioned this to you, but we'll actually be able to use his system Saturday night down in the restaurant. So that'll make that a lot easier.
Yeah.
And anywhere, if we have to do that anywhere else. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
That's great news too, because we didn't have any down there. So that's awesome. And then registration support, we're hoping to get some volunteers from Sean's church, but we also have Dorothy Arnold. She mentioned a couple of ideas from some older teens possibly to help with that registration as well. The vendor support, the speaker support, let me tell you about that. Speaker support, I'll be talking to Debbie more because she had a couple of ideas as far as people to ask. And so we're just going to move forward with her ideas with asking a couple of people. If we don't have anybody on this particular call, but if we don't, she or myself will be calling certain ones individually that's on a team that knows a little bit about what the logistics of the whole live event, to have that way it'll make it easier for that particular support person. And so we will be more so looking at maybe other people helping with the vendor support. Is not going to be that extremely hard. So if we have anybody on this call, someone, certainly let us know. It's not going to be a hard task. It's mainly just to, answer any questions they might have and help them set up as needed. But once it's set up, it's pretty much, I don't think it's going to be too much more to that role. Parents, I'm going to say parent support. I'm about to talk about that.
Well, I do want to say with the speaker thing, so whoever does that, it needs to be someone who is kind of accustomed to working with speakers in their own, capacity. Because that's a really important thing. I mean, that was one of the areas last year where I think we actually dropped the ball a little bit on. So essentially, from the time, making sure that any questions that they have pre-arrival, when they arrive, making sure that they know who to contact, where they're supposed to go, where their stuff, they're probably going to have stuff. Where do they put that stuff? Is anybody helping them set up that stuff, or are they doing it themselves? Or when are they, knowing when they're supposed to be on? And if there's any need, I mean, we're not, we're not doing AV, so we're not doing like presentation stuff. So that's a point that I'm going to make sure that they're aware of. I've said it already, but I need to confirm that with them. So we won't have to worry about that. But if there's any handouts that we need to get like photocopied for them ahead of time, obviously we need to know that ahead of time. Get those produced and have them there when they're ready. And then if they need any help disseminating stuff during their event, during their session. So does that make sense? That's what I'm thinking about when I say speaker.
Yes, usually that's all of the stuff that one would consider doing, particularly being able to help them during their the time that they're speaking. But I like preliminary stuff as well, and a lot of things that you named would be things that you would communicate. Actually, myself will communicate and send to them what a number to contact as soon as they arrive, and then where they would go as soon as they walk on the premises. That preliminary stuff, I believe, would come from me and Debbie to try to make sure that they feel supported even before their arrival, so they'll know where to go.
Right.
But yes, definitely. Prayer support. I think since last general meeting, we did have 2 additional people, right? Harold, 2 additional people to volunteer for the prayer support team, spiritual team.
Yeah, it's here on the screen.
Right. Alan April Johnson and Michael Allison Warfield. They also joined to help the prayer support. And Harold, you probably told them that the prayer room, we may not just have a body in there like we did last year. Did you already mention that last meeting?
I did mention that last meeting. I'll say it briefly again. Last year we had it manned for certain periods of time, the prayer room. This year we have a prayer room, but we are not manning it. We are pointing out, we're making individuals available. So if there's couples want a particular, specific prayer or whatever, I would hope that the relationships are built in the pods where that kind of stuff could happen. But whether that's the case or not, I thought it would be great. So we can point out these 2 couples right at the beginning. Well, in the general sessions, we can point out, the Johnsons, the Warfields are available. And, it's more as needed as, basis. So nobody's just kind of sitting in a room waiting to see if anybody shows up.
All right. Thank you. And the timekeeper is going to be Val Handy. That's my husband. Podfest MC Carlos and Catherine are going to do that. Tanya Breland is going to be the Spirit TED MC. And I think Harold probably gave details on that last month. But we did choose on our guest experience team meeting that the participants, when it's time for the panel, that we will be handing out when they come in index cards where the participants will write down their questions while they'll have the opportunity to write down questions while the speakers are speaking. That way, when we get to the panel, we've collected the questions, and then Tanya and whoever else go through them to see if we have any repeats or, organize them where one speaker's not getting hit with all the questions. And so we thought that would be better to do. And so looking forward to that experience. And then social media manager is Deidre Rusaw. Any questions about that and the needs to be filled with question marks? Anyone have anything to say?
I'm just wondering about you mentioned with the Spirit TED that Tanya is emceeing it. Tanya can speak for herself, but my first thing was, for her to organize it and emceeing all at the same time, or you mean like while the Spirit TED is going on, she's organizing it so that before she goes up there, it's already done? She's saying organizing the cards, the
questions. I mean, I can do that as well. It was just a part of while they're coming up with questions, it's a matter of collecting them and putting them in some order. Tanya won't be doing it, of course, while she's emceeing. I mean, attentive wise, but when the panel, of course, she'll have the questions are already organized when it's time to do the panel discussion.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Anything else? Good question. Anything else as it relates to the roles here? Okay.
I have a question. It's not so much related to the roles as it's just more like an overall request to have a copy of like the agenda program, the specifics that we've seen here. And you know what? I guess it's probably, you said it was gonna be on Slack, didn't you?
Which thing? Which thing?
Just the kind of the agenda of all that's going to be
The
happening.
whole weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think it's already on Slack.
Okay, I can't even remember how to access Slack. But okay.
But I can send it to you.
She's
Thank
going to
you.
renew, her passport expires on the 2020.
Didn't you send that?
Passport. So you don't need a passport.
Harold,
Harold.
this is Lori. Oh, sorry.
Go.
I saw one of the agendas in an email, but I don't know if this has been completely updated. I can't find it on Slack. I don't know if my Slack seems, I may not know where to look in Slack.
She's been slacking on Slack, Harold.
I'm a little slack there. Yes, that is true.
All these slackers.
A slackard. So where do I look to also find that on Slack?
Well, I'm not on Slack at the moment, but I thought it was in shareable. Well, no, not in shareable Slack.
Where's my Slack?
I'm opening Slack right now, but I think I did send it out to everybody. But I'm opening Slack right now to see if it's.
Yeah, but you did send an email. I thought we got an email with the
But I think
agenda.
that might have been the one before we started talking about what changes to make. I think.
No, this was just in the last week.
There's Slack.
So I mean,
Where?
so last month. Well, that's the recording. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't see the actual document. The recording is there, but the actual document, I'm not seeing it. So I'll post it and I will send it back out to you guys. It's essentially final at this point. So
September 5th,
Dahlia said September 5th.
the email was sent with the agenda unless there's been.
It hasn't changed. Any other questions? And Minna's working on kind of the room assignments for all of where everything's going to be there. So
The room assignments are done. I just had one change that happened actually today. But other than that, I've sent the room assignments to Amanda, the one that will be getting the program together. Okay. So if you have any questions about room assignments, you could certainly just contact me, but I have it all together already and sent to her.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if there are no other questions about that, there were just a couple of kind of practical things I wanted to ask about. Sean, Lori, what since you guys are the only topical intensive people that are on here, I think. Yeah, you are. How many appointments? So obviously, we're saying plus folks can sign up for 30-minute appointments, but how many appointments do we actually make available? I mean, obviously, financial freedom is you guys and the Harveys. So I'm also not trying to get you guys like slammed with appointments. So, I need some feedback from you guys as to how many appointments. And then I'm saying that because we somehow have to have some system for people to sign up for those appointments. And I'm assuming it's going to be on a first come, first served basis. And we need to have some means for people that sign up and then forget that they signed up and then wasting a slot because somebody else could have used it and they didn't show. I mean, so those kind of things, how are we going to address those?
Debbie and I have already talked about that. We talked about a part of it, and I'll give you the answer to the other part of it. But we talked about doing at registration, we have the plus members sign up there for the appointments that are available. And then if they're not all, and then of course, as a reminder, what I would suggest as we get their phone number at registration, and we do a text to remind them of their appointment so far in advance. It could be two. It could be a text that goes out the day before, or it could be an hour before they have to be there. And in that way, they don't miss it.
Okay,
So
that's a good idea. I think the only thing of concern is that when they they might not know they want an appointment until after the sessions. actually happen rather than when they check in.
Okay. And so we can do it twice. We can do it when they come in registration. And if they're not sure, then we can also have a sheet available to the intensive speakers, the ones that are doing it, and they can have their sheet there to sign up.
Here's what, and others can weigh in on this. I'm just giving my opinion. I think that maybe we don't do it at registration, because I have this feeling that if we do it at registration, people are just going to automatically like, oh, I can do that. Okay, yeah, put me down. Rather than waiting until they actually, Sean and Lori, the Harveys, they actually do the sessions and then saying that these are available, having these available, and then they have to sign up. You know what I'm saying? I think that's more likely to get people who really need and want to use them.
How do you reserve it for the plus, though, if they're signing up right after? How do you segregate plus list and what's left over?
Yeah,
I think, are they going to have badges, or
Plus is going to be on the badges. Plus is going to be on the badges, according to Debbie and I. However, I agree with Mark. I would, if I was a Plus member, I would want that option when I register. And we can get other people's opinion, but I would want that option when I register. And again, I like your suggestion to have that option to be able to look at again. But again, at the topical intensive, just in case I missed it at the registration. But I definitely would want that option to be able to do that early enough so I won't miss the time I want, because I might want a certain time.
Harold, I think we could do it both ways. I think, like Mena's saying, we could let the Plus people sign up, but then what you do, because that doesn't start till Friday evening, a phone call or something is placed to them confirming, do you still want your time, after we've presented? Are you still good for that time? We want to make sure that you're going to take advantage of it. And then to answer the second question, Lori and I were thinking probably about four per time. So Friday PM and Saturday PM, we could probably do 8 of those sessions, 4 each time.
Even though I was looking at the time, then you have an hour and a half for those appointments on Friday, and then you have 2 hours on Saturday.
Right. So we were thinking about, it'd be a little tighter on Friday, but we were thinking about, instead of doing full half hours, do 20 minutes to give people time to go. Whereas, of course, on Saturday, technically we have the 2 hours will be taken up at a half hour, but you got to give a little break time. We think that Friday will be a little tight, but if we squeezed it to 20-minute meetings, we could do 4, and then Saturday we could definitely do 4 at 20-minute meetings a total of 8.
That would be like 1:30 if you said 1:30 to 2:30. Well, it's over.
Just so this is my opinion. Others can weigh in on this, but because all of the people who are in speaking roles here for Eusebia are going to get upgraded to Plus, regardless of what. So they're going to be Plus, and then all of the pod facilitators are going to be Plus. That they're going to be upgraded to Plus. So, but I would prefer, and I hope you guys are okay with this idea of letting people who are not part of the team have priority over the ones who are. But I want to hear your opinions about that. Mark, you're muted. I see your mouth moving, but you're muted. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. If they're going to pay money, they should get first dibs on the Plus stuff. So they're sort of a super Plus.
Yeah. So Mena, that means that you got to kind of keep in mind which kind of Plus. Are they super Plus?
I'm sorry.
Well, what I did, Mena, because I was going through the event right list tonight, and I put upgraded. So then that will let you know, because there are some people who are pod facilitators or speakers who did pay Plus. So I put upgraded for those.
Okay, so upgraded is going to be the Super Plus people.
Huh?
Upgraded is the Super Plus people?
Well, Super Plus are the ones who pay. I think Mark's
Pay.
vernacular is the Super Plus are the ones who pay plus.
Yeah.
Okay, so Super Pay, I'm sorry, Super Plus is the ones that are paid. And there are some speakers that are paid. Now, Daria is saying, how do I tell the difference on
Not
Eventbrite?
pod facilitators.
What I'm saying is that I put it in red, so I have to send it out to Catherine and Carlos. I'll make sure you and Debbie are copied, and you'll see the ones that I upgraded because they're pod facilitators or speakers.
Okay.
So it'll be apparent to you.
Okay, so it'll be apparent it's to the difference between a Super Plus and the Plus.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that vernacular is only for this call. That's not going to be something that
We're not gonna put it on the badge.
No.
Super Plus, you sure?
So Sean and Lori, the Harveys, are going to do the financial freedom one. As you know, there's 2 topical intensives on financial freedom. There's one communicating intimately, and so we need people that are comfortable talking with couples to help out here. Laban and Michael Shaw have offered to be one of the couples that we can use for appointments.
Cool.
And so if we can get at least 1 or 2, really probably 2 more couples that will be available for appointments for that,
Just to set up.
that would be great. But this would be somebody who's accustomed to, talking with couples.
Jan and I can help out.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Mark. You got that, Minna?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'll keep moving on here.
I'm sorry though, but Sean answered the question as far as them. Is that going to be for everybody? That times 4 and 4 for appointment?
How many you mean?
How many? Is that going to be for everyone being able to?
When we decide on it, it's going to be the same for everybody. I just wanted to hear Sean and Lori's opinion as to how many. I think 8 is too many, guys, actually. So, because I want you guys to have a life there while you're there. So,
So we could cut it back to 3 and 3, 6.
Yeah, it's a 6.
Yeah.
I don't think we can do less than 6 because just my experience, Harold,
People start talking. Yeah.
well, people are going to want to meet you. And that's just how it is when you start talking about finances.
Yeah.
I do this for a living. You're going to have more than 6 people that are going to want to meet. You're not going to fill the need. So I think we could handle 6. I think 6, 20 minutes each. We will be good.
Okay. And I'll talk to Shayna and Harvey, Shayna and Fred as well, and see if 6 seems. And then, well, yeah, I guess Mark and Jan, what do you think from this communicating intimately? For how many of those appointments would you want to do? Or maybe we don't have to have everybody do the same number. Maybe we just have a certain number of appointments and then they get kind of allocated. What do you guys think?
Well, we got to know. I mean, I'm sorry, Jen and Mark, y'all going to talk, but we have to know as far as times we can have a slotted times on a sheet prior to.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily have to be everybody has 6, like Sean and Lori said. Maybe we have a certain number that we feel. But Mark, man, you guys have an opinion here?
Yeah, it's 3 on Friday and 3 on Saturday doesn't, that seems reasonable to us as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What else? Because Minna, I'm gonna just see if there are things that because that's really most of the stuff that I wanted to put out there. So did you have anything else that you wanted to discuss with folks?
I did want to stress to those people that are going to be vendors that I have to have that that information, names by September 25th or by September 25th. Really and truly, you probably already know if you're going to be a vendor that you have that in mind already. But if you could please send the name to me so that we can make sure that we include everybody that needs a spot. We have spots already taken. It's a given that the speakers are going to be at the vendor. But if the speakers don't want a vendor table, then you need to let me know. But automatically, the vendors are going to have the speakers are going to have a vendor table. But you definitely, if you don't want a vendor table and you're a speaker, let me know, because that's a space that I can give to someone else. I do want you to send me an email, because as I collect names, I'm going to be giving you information, sending you information eventually about the vendor piece of it, setup, breakdown, and anything you might need to know about the vendor. So I want to collectively get names there.
All of the people who are pod facilitators, you have the option of having a table if you want. Like Minna's saying, you have to, all of who are pod facilitators, other, other speaking roles in this.
Spirit Ted, if you're Spirit Ted, you will.
So you just have to let Minna know. And then, we do have a limited number of tables, so it's going to be first come, first serve.
So please keep in mind, if you don't do it tonight, just send me your name. Please send it before on September 25th. Thank you. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is special dietary needs. Catherine is going to be sending out an email about if you need any special dietary needs, like if you're a vegetarian or anything like that. I need to know that like ASAP. The menu is going to go out this week, and so she's supposed to be sending this email out so that if you have to have special dietary needs, please make sure you respond ASAP. Thank you.
Mina, this is Catherine. Yes, I am going to send that out tonight.
Thank you, Catherine.
Everybody should be getting that.
Okay, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And guys, please don't wait to respond to that. I have to send the menu this week. So please, I need to let her know as soon as possible about the menu and the special needs. Okay.
So Catherine's sending that out to all the registrants.
Yes. Yes.
Catherine, I'll be sending out the updated registrant list tonight because we have a couple more people.
Okay, I'll wait till I get that from you, and then I'll get that out in bold print. I'll make sure that they have a certain deadline to do, and if they don't respond by that deadline, it'd be good for them to bring some snacks.
Right. Yes. Yes, that deadline definitely this week for that dietary needs. The vendors September 25th, but the dietary needs definitely needed this week.
So what happens with people that register after this week?
Well, we still got a little time, but she's asking me for those She asked me last week, actually, if I knew already. And I was like, no, but I'm going to find out. So I haven't sent the menu over. So anyone that registers afterwards, I'm sure they'll be okay because we still, got a little time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking like majority of everybody needs to be in, and those that, trickle along in, that we can definitely, she probably can go back to them. But if we could get the majority of them in, that would be helpful as they prepare for the menu.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. The other thing that we have to be mindful of, Minna, is this date with the room block cutoff. Technically the room block cutoff is Tuesday.
Yes.
We're going to see if we can get some kind of extension to that. But just so you guys are mindful, I don't know, maybe everyone here has already reserved the room, but if you haven't, I would advise doing that before Tuesday, just in case we don't get an extension. But I assume that we will. And you don't have to pay right now anyway, so there's no real downside to going ahead and reserving the room. But
Harold, is that something you want to put in an email?
Yeah,
Go out
we
to-
need to send it out. I was trying to see if we could confirm first whether we can get another date of extension, but maybe you just go ahead and let people know that it's now, it's coming, so maybe it'll be an incentive for people.
Okay.
Melanie, did you have anything else? Is that it?
No, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, Gerard, Tanya, how you guys okay with praise and worship stuff? You have anything to update us on?
Nope, everything's cool. I think we should have the band at least for Friday night and Saturday.
Live
And
music.
then, yeah.
Cool. 20% better. There you go. The sound system setup. How I know Mark was there last year helping with that, and I don't remember who else. Do we have a plan for sound system setup? So I guess I didn't say. So Pastor Jonathan Lee, we're using his equipment, same equipment we used last year. We gave him the list of what we needed from on that truck, on that trailer, but we still have to set up everything. So
Is that what Sean's person may be able to help do, or no? Or we don't know when he's going to be there?
I don't know. That's a question for Sean, I guess.
Well, I'd only approached him about helping to work on it, but again, I just need to know the times and what you need, and I can ask him. He can definitely help if you need an extra hand to help with the setup. I was just approaching him about maybe being able to work the board for a certain time, but if it's a matter of setting up, as long as I know when, yeah, I
that's
can.
going to be earlier in the day, Sean. Like we were targeting around maybe 4. Well, no. Yeah, 4.
It would probably need to be Thursday evening.
The challenge,
afternoon, early evening.
The challenge we had last year was nobody really knew how to set it up.
Right.
So, and it was like we were piecemealing it. Then we weren't sure if we had all the cords or the parts to go in, and we were kind of trying to do some rigging to get it to play through the speakers. And so it's, if he has somebody bringing it, maybe if they can
actually bring it. Pastor Leith is actually bringing it himself this year.
He doesn't know how to set it up.
He doesn't know.
No, he says.
But there is a guy that does know how to set it up. If he can get that guy if he can at least have maybe like a step-by-step, like plug this here, plug that there, that might be helpful, because we wasted hours.
Yeah.
Trying to troubleshoot and figure out how to get it to work.
They might be willing to do a video of it, and just instead of, if they don't want to type it up or anything, a video.
Yeah, video is probably better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll request that of him. I'll ask him. That's a great idea to actually give us a step-by-step.
Yeah, video or just pictures. This equipment goes into this equipment and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd knock it down from a couple of hours to probably just an hour.
Because Mark, you were helping, weren't you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And it was quite a nightmare.
It was. I don't know if we ever fully got it right. It worked out.
Something we needed, and not figuring out what we needed and what we didn't need, and how it all went together was a challenge.
Right.
Okay, so that's a great idea. I'll request that of him, and it's enough time. It's like a month out, so they can produce something. I'll try to have that something at least a week before, so we can make sure it makes sense to us. So
great.
Yeah, and if you need an extra hand, like I said, I just need to know what we need them to do, and I can
And
ask
when.
them. And when, what time does the person need to be there? So if they need to take off a little time from work, or they can let me know if they can or can't do it, then I can approach a couple people.
Is he in the area?
Yeah, because we live here in the metro area, so
Okay.
it's in Columbia, so he's within half hour of the location.
I mean, if it's, we're going to get there by check-in time, but if this guy could come, early evening, 5-ish or 6-ish even, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It would need to be before that, right?
I would think. I thought it starts.
Yeah, it starts at like 6.
Well, but there's no music needed Thursday.
No, but are we in
They need it.
Where is it, man? Isn't it all in that room?
I'm sorry. Do you're gonna need a soundboard on Thursday?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but if they're setting it up, isn't it in that same room we're using for Thursday night?
Let me make sure.
Because if it is, that means we have to have it set up before, I don't want to.
Oh, because you guys want to use, it's all, okay, because I think last year was, you guys had a different room and we were practicing stuff. All right.
Right.
I got you.
I'm checking. Let's see. No, we won't be. Terrace room. We'll be in the terrace ballroom on Thursday, and Friday we'll be in the Lakeview ballroom upstairs.
But we have access to the Lakeview for Thursday evening?
That probably is. It's possible that they might be able to let us in there. I'm not sure whether they already have an event or anything, because we are not really scheduled to be in that room on Thursday.
We have to ask them now, we need to get set up in there for the audio system, so we need them to let us in there.
But then that would help for Sean's guy, because if he can then just show up at 7 o'clock in the evening and do from 7 to 9, for instance, or if they'll only give it to us after an event, he may have to show up from 9 to 11. So,
right,
Sean's guy needs to know that, and we need it as soon as Minna can get that answer.
Right.
Okay, I'll work on that answer tomorrow. I'll call a hotel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
I'll help out if I can. Depends what else I've volunteered for. That or someone has to clone.
Well, we can have 2 marks. Take 2 marks. Yeah. All right, guys. Are all hearts and minds clear? Are there any other questions or anything?
I just have a quick question. Is there a particular time that y'all prefer getting in there, just in case she or he asks? If it's not available the whole time?
It sounded like the preferred time was 6 o'clock.
Okay.
After Sean's guys, after working hours, right, Sean?
Okay.
Yeah, I think he gets off work at 4. So, and again, it could be something where he might be able to go in early and get off a little bit earlier. I just need to know the time.
Okay.
And just a question, man. This just came to my mind. Are we using the same room for the general sessions on Friday and Saturday? So there's not going to have to be a change with the equipment.
That's a good question. Let's see. I got it here. The plenaries for Saturday. We have the catered lunch in Lakeview Ballroom. Saturday in the morning, we're in the Lakeview Ballroom. And then Friday, we're in pretty much the only thing is Friday evening. Just make sure we on the Lakeview A and B side, but pretty much I think I kept some of that in mind. The praise, everything the main general sessions, they are in Lakeview, the Lakeview Ballroom.
Okay, so every time there's a praise and worship, it's in the Lakeview Ballroom. But
it's gonna need to be on the A and B.
A and B, yes. So you won't have to move it again.
Friday night.
Friday night it's on A and B. So then that means the other, when we open up on Saturday, we need to, it will still be in the same spot. It's in the Lakeview Ballroom, but we'll have the whole ballroom on Saturday.
I don't really know what it means as far as the way we set it up. Hopefully there's a way to set the thing up where the board is located and everything so that we don't have to move that.
Move it again. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I guess we won't, they probably can give us an idea that when we get there, because that's going to be hard for us to figure out a little bit prior to us getting there.
Okay, so is there anything else before we let you good folks go? That is a no. Well, thank you everyone for joining on. I'll ask, Mark, if you wouldn't mind closing us out in prayer. Thanks again for joining and all the great ideas we got. We picked up a few really great ideas too tonight. So let us know if there's anything else you guys need, and definitely share out those flyers that we've had created. Okay? Love you guys. Mark?
Father, we thank you for the blessing of the Eusebia and for all that's happening and what you're guiding us in, and just continue to prepare our hearts to receive what you have for us in participating and in leading and guiding, and just be with us as we finish off the preparations, Lord, that all we do and say would glorify you and just be a blessing to those around us as well. It's in your name, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Good night.